Hello, everyone. I'm Pierre. I'm a developer. Hello. Um, Today, I will try to give you a sneak peek of the way the new application is built in Odoo, and in this case, the document application. And like every good story, we start in the Belgian countryside, um, and actually in a farm, not that far away from here, actually. So someone got an ID. Um, in the case of the documents and most of the main apps, it's often the same person. Uh, the idea was to allow the user to handle documents in Odoo. We know that we already have attachment, but they are always bound to a specific object, and we want to deal with documents by themselves. Well, documents, but okay, but what the user want to do with them? That's because adding documents for mainly no reason is not a good objective. So we start to think about ways of dealing with them. And the first one was to share documents with a client, for example. Let's say an accounting office that want to send some documents to the clients, or get documents back, invoices, for example, or expenses. And then right away, we start to think, okay, we will need to have some kind of public page and unique URLs, some way to make the whole thing secure. It's giving access to information inside Odoo from the outside world. We can't just doing like that. Another topic is to organize also those documents. You will create documents, you will receive documents, maybe a lot of them. We need to try to find a way to find them, to use them properly, and to deal with maybe a huge quantity. So start to think about tags, categories, some kind of hierarchy, yes, folders maybe. We start to think about how we are going to represent them in the Odoo system, and also to have a UI, a useful UI, an easy to use, a simple UI for users to handle them. Okay, we have a starting point, we have the IDs. We're going to try to build a team to realize this project. So one project owner starts to get the information, try to get the first feedback, the first IDs, and will be the relay between the functional part and the technical part. It's a key role, actually, in the process. We will need to have some new UI in Odoo because, attachments, documents, we don't have, besides a technical view, we don't have really a way to deal with them. And we want to be simple for the user. So a designer joined the team. And of course, a developer, because, we need to implement it. So we wrap up all those ideas, try to discuss them first time, to write down all those ideas. And we got, after a few days, 2 days, actually, it was quite fast, we got a first MockUp. It's a simple one. It's not, it reuse a lot of things, a lot of components in Odoo. And it was our starting point for the implementation. It's to ask ourselves the question, what does the Odoo framework provide us? What can we reuse? And so in this mockup, we try to analyze, okay, this is the idea, that's simple, we should do this quite easily. We have like I said, we have attachment. We can try to reuse that model. It's not really a new concept, but it's a new approach for this concept. And for the view, it looks like a kanban view, a slightly customized one, but it's a kanban view basically. So, okay, nothing fancy, it's basic, but it's starting point. But actually, after a few days, it quickly evolved. This is the mock-up that we received. Say, okay, we are only 3 days later, maybe started to think about the way to implement this. It looks like a lot more complicated. Basically, it's a heavily customized Kanban view. It's still a starting point. It's still an evolution of what we had first. But then we also have to need to have some screen to share the links and specify the information and the related to those kind of links, the way we will want to share the documents to the outside. Okay, well, looks like a wizard form. We know that. It's, again, slightly customized, but we know that. Yeah, we reuse what we have. And it was our starting point, and it's really the first thing the first things to do. It's to try to reuse, try to see. We have some model we need maybe to create, probably to create some new. We have some views, okay, but we can customize them. We reuse. I talked about a public page. The client, the user from the outside need to have a way to see what documents are shared. So we have a mockup also. Yes, it's a public page with a custom layout. We will need to think about it. Nothing impossible again. Public page, okay, we directly think about a new controller, some integration, some CSS and HTML integration. Yeah, we can do that. And then we come back to the Kanban view. And I said easily customized. We try to analyze what part of this mockup show us. Okay, first there is a filtering bar on the left. We don't have that in Odoo, actually, specifically not in the Kanban view. Okay. We have a kind of an inspector panel on the right. We don't have that either. And also, what is this chatter in the Kanban view? It's completely new. And of course, the whole integration between the three is completely new. Okay, let's get some coffee and start to think with our technical perspective. How can we implement this? Could we use Studio simply? Yeah, maybe not in this case. It's quite a complex logic to add, and currently, Studio doesn't generate Python code. Okay, yet, maybe. But actually, we used Studio, not for implementing the whole application, but for prototyping. It was a tool, one of the tools, a powerful tool, to try to demonstrate, to show and discuss with the product owner, with the different stakeholders about what we really want. So, okay, we see the Odoo experience are on site a little bit later, but the V12 version 12 of Odoo is in a few months. We need to add some people to the rescue. So we add two more developers. And we start to assign the task and to organize the work. In our case, we dispatch one developer for the server part, the modelization of the models, the implementation in Python, basically. And the two other developers went on the kanban customization, one on each side. It was easy to guess. And we start to build that. We try to build, as fast as possible, a first implementation. And yeah, I need to do a break here. For me, the starting points, the starting tips, important one to be successful in this kind of project, and also to be as fast as possible to get a first implementation, is to first, like I said, try to reuse. Try to find the building blocks in Odoo. Maybe don't find them. Maybe there is definitely something to implement, but to find the parts that can be useful. And for the first implementation, we don't try to make it look good, actually. We try to make it functional, to be able to discuss the application with the product owner, with the different potential users that we have in mind. And also, we try to add automated tests right in the beginning, if it's possible, really as soon as possible. Because even if you need to change them later on, they will give you some kind of safety, really, even in the beginning. And so, 2 weeks later, not 2 weeks ago, hopefully, we got a first working version. Okay, it's not completely the most prettiest looking interface, but yeah, it worked. We had some way to organize with the tags, with also even the filtering of the models those documents can be attached to or not. We have the Kanban view to see the list of documents, and we have the inspector. Yeah, less readable, but still, it's start to be functional. As a developer, we say, yeah, it's alive. We are good. We are in the right direction. The designer is not always as optimist as us. It's great, but in my design, I try to put my part of my soul in that design. So yeah. The product owner is, well, okay, that's good, but yeah, you see, we had some new ideas. So it's nice, but I have also an alternate version of this one is sometimes Fabien coming in the office and say, non, ça ne va pas du tout. Okay, so we settled down a second time. Not the beer one. Not in the office, at least. So the specification changed. We know that there will be some evolution. Of course, we try to develop even as fast as possible, but yeah, nothing is set to stone yet. And we continue to think about it. So the specification will change. So we implement, as a developer, we implement the change. And yeah, again, the product owner, a few days passed, and the product owner came back and said, okay, yes, that's good, but we had yet another idea. And okay, the specification changed again, and we implement the change again, and do you see a trend here? So this is the kind of endless loop, well, looks like from our standpoint, to be an endless loop, but it's an important one. It's the loop that allows us to integrate the insight that are coming from the usage of the prototype. Because while we are implementing those changes, the product owners and the other potential user can work with the first prototype, the first working version. The first working version is often the longest to see the air flight. But after that, we can start to iterate, to kind of embrace those changes. And yes, in this endless loop, we will try new features. We will discard new features. And we will even reintroduce discarded features, but not exactly in the same way. And yeah, for example, in the documents application, the folder system that you can see nowadays in the Odoo 12 had, I think, 4 implementations. And the final one is kind of the second one, but not exactly. But it's okay. That's not a bad thing. It was a process to try to refine. We tried to, as a developer, we need to make those changes, to be able to show them, and then get the feedback and learn from it. And then, again, make the change, learn, show them, and then learn. It looks silly. It looks even more simpler, but it's quite an important loop, for me at least. And then, iteration after iteration, the product, the application that we are developing is refined, step by step. And for me, really an important tip that is not always simple to apply, actually, is to try to keep those iterations short. Because when you come back, well, have implemented a lot of things, all the features that you ask for, but we are 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, sometime later, say, okay, well, but our thoughts also evolved, and we have thought about a new workflow sometimes. So by keeping them short, you can stay connected to the stakeholders of the project or the application. Well, so let's come back to documents. I showed you the first implementation, which was kind of rough, but all the parts were there. It took more or less 2 weeks to get that part implemented. But after that, we started to iterate. A few iterations later, more or less 10 days later, it looked like this. It's not the final product, not yet, at least, but it's a refined one. The designer don't want to throw himself to the window, not yet at least, but it starts to be really functional, and yeah, we can really start to use it and continue to refine it and continue to think about it and to get with a lot of other iteration to this look, which is the final version, actually the one that is shipped in Odoo 12. But we still know that it's a version 1 of the document application. We will continue to iterate. We will continue to have new ideas. Yeah, that's fine. So, to say about the documents application, to give you a rough idea, it took more or less 2 months from the first mockup that you saw, you've seen just before, to reach almost the final version. It took more or less 2 months to be able to merge it, to say, okay, we have a valid milestone of this application. It's working. We will certainly have other new ideas, but we can set it right. We could deliver it right there. About the resource that we use, I said we had in total 3 developers. Actually, it was 1 developer really full-time on this project, and the 2 others were on kind of part-time. So that's not that much resource. The developer was not, it was not the only application he was working on, definitely. So yeah, part-time. And also, like I said in the beginning, we had a product owner following us, keeping this, this link, this bind between the ideas coming from the functional part to us in the technical department alive. This bond should stay alive, and it was his role. And yeah, it's for me really a key role in this kind of process. In a not this one. In a more technical kind of metrics, the whole application represent more or less. I see 1,300 lines of XML, 300 lines of Python, and a lot of JavaScript, 1,400 lines of code. But you can also see that side to the implementation, we try to have a lot of tests. Like I said in the beginning, we try to test it right from the start. And I want to really settle on those automated tests. For me, really, the automated test, whatever whichever the tool you use, or the kind of being unit test, integration test, system test, whatever, for me, they're really important because they're automated. You can replay them every time you do a change and check that all the previous tests pass. For me, it really gives me a feeling of confidence when I do change, even when the spec change, and we need to adapt the test, of course, to the specification. Still, we have this safety net. And this is why I really want to insist on the fact that we need to try to write them all along the whole project. Start right from the beginning till the delivery, and after that. Because every change that we will face, every change in spec, every bug we need to fix, every change will be easier and safer. We don't have to keep in mind, okay, I will change that. It looks like it works, but does it really work? I tried it manually, okay, it seems fine, but is there an edge case? And personally, I still have this question in mind, even if I'm really confident that my change is the best I can do. I still have this question in mind. Yeah, but, yes. And so it provides you a kind of peace of mind when you need to refactor, because sometimes, at some point, you need to make it more efficient. And in Odoo, we have those tools in place that you can use, of course. We use them also, being on the server side with the unit test and all the helpers that are provided to work with the different components of the framework, the models, the view also. You can test them, but also on the client side. We have a lot of tests in JavaScript unit using QUnit, actually, which is well known and established too. But you also have the integration test to take a higher level and see the whole picture and test a whole workflow, which are actually written partly in JavaScript and also in Python. But yes, you have those tools to help in this case. So, one key tip that I want to share. as much as possible. I know that sometimes we can't, but really, as much as possible. When someone reports a bug, you find a bug, you do a change, anything, you write a test before fixing it. It's often seen as a cost. Yeah, but I know the fix. It's only a typo. It's only just one line to change. I know it. I know really what I need to fix, and it will take 2 minutes. Okay, take maybe 3, 4 minutes, but to write the test that will validate this change. It will cost you a little bit now. Actually, you will invest a little bit of time right now, but you will thank yourself 2 months later, or a year later, or someone else later will thank you, because he will have this safety net. And this is why, for me, the automated test, I know they take time to write. Definitely, I know. But I don't want to see them as a cost. I don't want to see them as, it will take me 2 hours to add the test for this new functionalities to this new feature. It will cost me 2 hours. No, I will invest maybe these 2 hours. And like every investment, I need to do it wisely. I need to know when it's valuable also. I need to try to evaluate if it's valuable also or not. But it's an investment. So, to wrap things up, the guidelines that we use internally, that I think can be useful also for you, being a partner, implementing new application or customization for your clients. It's to try first to see what is available in the framework, and not try to rush to try to build new things and maybe reinvent the wheel. Use what exists in the framework. And then start customize only when you really need it, when you can't do otherwise. It will be a lot easier in maintainability for you, because you can stand on top of the framework, on top of the tools that we provide, actually. And write test. Really, I mean it. I think I said it a lot. And again, for the iteration, change always comes. In our case, we are internally, this is one department against another. But I know that also in client projects, the change still come, being from the client directly, being from the project manager, or a third, a different stakeholder. They will still come during the project, after. You will obviously not deal with them in exactly the same way, but they will come. And for me, the important part is embrace those change. We are often afraid as a developer to, still come with a new feature, or you still, again, you want to change something. No, embrace them. And by following a few tips that I showed you, I think we can build better software, better application, better projects, better implementation for customer by embracing those change. And because we are sometimes, as developer, as technical person, we forget that some few small tweaks, we see, okay, it's just change in a label or a way one of the field in a form is presented. Yeah, okay, I will do the change, but what it really means. We forget that it can have a huge impact for users' business or client business. And it was all I have today. So I will I think that was a lot shorter than expected. But from your point of view, as external developers or project manager maybe, do you have some kind of feedbacks? What do you think about this way of or if you have any other question?
When you talk about tests, is it TDD or not?
I specifically not use the TDD term or agile terms and the different other declination like Scrum and things like that. I think that the TDD, test-driven development, is a good practice in theory, but you need to confront it to the reality. Applying it blindly is not really a productive way of.
But these tests are included in the code.
The
test that you are doing.
Yeah.
Implemented in the code or are they extra code?
You mean in the code base? They are aside, but they live with the code with the different version of the code. Don't know if it's really answer your question. Yes. We do code reviews, yes, and actually with the arrival of the merge bot, we will enforce it for the future changes. By enforce it, I mean everyone that will want to commit some code, some changes in the Odoo code base will need to have this code reviewed by one of the team leader. We have started to implement this tool in a few months ago for the development branch actually, and honestly I think it will really raise the quality of the whole application and raise also the knowledge of the newcomers because when you get a review, you see, okay, I thought it was the right way to do it, because you never want to write bad code, actually. But you maybe didn't know some details or some best practice, or there is always something to learn from a code review. So yes, we use them. Yes? Yeah, in Python, you mean? Good question. Can we test private methods? I'm not sure, actually. No, I won't. I don't want to give a wrong answer, but I'm not sure. Yeah, fun, yes. Okay. Yes, it's not a. Even if it's a tricky question do you really want to make a method public, maybe a sensitive one, just for testing? You want to test it in some ways. But if it's not a public one, it should have some impact on other part of your classes, for example, some fields, for example. If you, for example, if you have a compute field and you want to test the method that do the compute, I will test the field in itself and see if you can reproduce the behavior of the compute method through the fields, through the change of the values in the fields. This would be my approach for that kind of question.
So technically in Python, what we call private methods are the ones who start with 2 underscores. But we rarely use them in the Odoo code. What we use in Odoo code is the methods that start with 1 underscore, which is not private in the sense that other class cannot call it. It's private. If it's only 1 underscore, it's part of the Odoo framework. It's private in the sense that you cannot access it from the RPC. And most of the tests we write in Python are not from the RPC, they are from the unit test or inside Python directly, and they are performed when you run the server. So all the methods you see with 1 underscore that you think are private are actually not private methods but not accessible to RPC. And these ones are easily to test from anywhere because it's not private class. You may have a few methods with 2 underscore in Odoo, but I don't think there is even a single one in the document management module.
No, there is none. Another question? No. Okay. Oh, yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to find out, did you reuse the IR attachment model?
Yes. This is the base of the document system. Yeah, I show it, but really quickly on one of the slides. Yes, the ER attachment is the base model that we extended and we fixed some part of it to be able to work like that. But yes. Okay. Yeah. Well, sorry.
There are stored with templates for this document when you need to sign. It's also part of this attachment or sign model?
It's the templates to sign. I should need to check, but they're bound to the sign application. We have also developed a few bridges. The first one, probably a lot more will come later on, but a few bridges with the different application we want to do the documents app to work with. For example, for sign and accounting.
Question somewhat related.
Yep.
Does electronic digitally signed documents has come in the discussion and is something part of the scope somewhere or to certify somehow that the document is not tempered or changed?
Like the sign with certificate PDF and things like that.
Self-signed, something to make that somehow to have a check that something a PDF or a document was not changed.
I don't think so.
Some country have that.
Yeah.
I just want to know if in the scope of that discussion or not.
Not explicitly in the current state of the project. I don't know. I'm looking to.
What we want to do in the future in the side for the future.
Okay.
But technically, it's not useful. I mean, the only use case I have in mind is accounting in France, where you have to guarantee that you didn't check the past, but we implement that directly in the localization in France. Another use case where you need to provide a checksum for a legal document to be.
For example, in one country, in Israel, for example, you have the case that you need to have an original invoice, and somehow it needs to be done that you cannot edit it, you cannot change it. Somehow you need to certify that it cannot be tempered somehow.
That's impossible.
Well, if you make a SHA or something with a document, you can kind of have a proof that nobody changed something from that point on.
So all the countries have a requirement that you don't change the invoice, but it's a legal requirement, it's not a technical requirement. That doesn't force you to put a checksum, because I mean, if you want to change an invoice, you do a copy, change in another document, and nobody can prove it's the original or the sale of it.
No, but I mean, actually, in our current case, that the one providing the software need to provide a way that the user cannot.
Then we are like we do in France, and in that case, we implement in the localization what's required. It's not part of the document management system, doesn't make it. It's usually requirements in order to be able to sign electronically this type of document. Okay?
Yes. In Odoo itself, you have the tools you have the infrastructure and the tools to do to basically just write them. You don't have to set up anything else. Because often the libraries that are used, for example, I'm basically more a JavaScript developer, and I know that to be able to test a project from scratch, you need to have a test runner and also a library to actually implement the test, and maybe also a predicate or assertion library, and try to bind everything together, which can be complicated in some case. But this part, this infrastructure part, you have everything in Odoo. Yeah, like I said, just have to write them. Of the coding time for a feature, depends on the feature. That's the easy answer. That's difficult to say. Yeah, it depends on the feature, on the complexity of the feature, on the different kind of edge case that you can have. Yeah. Yeah. This is why I talk about an investment. If it's a feature that may have a short-lived lifetime, going really deep into the testing and invest a lot of time in it is not maybe the right choice. But in our case, we are building a whole framework of and a lot of application that you will develop on top of it. We need to be sure that it will stay maintainable for us, for you. So I think that it's worth the investment. Maybe a case-by-case discussion also, but most of the time, yes, it's worth it, I think, personally.
They are under R&D, towards the products that we want to produce. You would have asked the same question to a sales department or someone
Yes.
or for a customer project, the answer would be very different.
Yeah, definitely. This is what. Again, personally, as a technical person, I would say yes, but yeah, could be another discussion. Like Fabien said, it depends on the point of view. This is also why I spoke about maintainability. And you said also it's seeing the long term. In the long term, definitely it's worth it, I think. On the short term, yeah, you can discuss it. I think it's still worth it, but again, it's my personal point of view. Anything else? Okay, but I think that the lunch is ready, so thank you.